March Madness comes to the close for the Auburn Tigers, falling to the Houston Cougars in the second round of the NCAA tournament by the score of 81-64. We're going to talk about it. We're going to break it down. And boy, I got some things to say. Let's get into it here on this post-game reaction show right now. War Eagle Auburn family, War Eagle E2C Network family, thank you so much for joining us. I know this is not the stream that you want to be joining right now, but we appreciate you joining us live if you are choosing to do so. As I addressed at the beginning of the show, this is a post-game stream where we're going to react, talk about, have a little therapy session, wait for the Houston and / Alabama fans to come into the chat and be saucy. All those things that we're going to do here on this show today. But do me a favor, if you could do a favor for me as we start the show here. Start off by smashing the like button if you enjoy this type of content. Not the performance of the game, I get it, but if you could do it for the channel, that'd be great. Also, post where you're watching from, your city, your state, international. That'd be a great thing to do to start off the show. Those couple of things for us. So thank you so much for hopping in and hanging out with us and doing those things for me. Let me start off with some initial thoughts as we get in there today. And as a reminder, when the headphones are on, that usually means a phone line is open. So if you'd like to, if you are a Booster Club member, you have access to that, or you should. I think I sent it out. I believe I sent it out. Call-in options tonight if you'd like to call in Booster Club members. So opening thoughts while you guys get your thought. I will say this. If you're wanting to get your comment addressed tonight on the show, it's probably not be a good idea to be, saying things about the players and the coaches that you wouldn't say to their faces. But if it makes you feel better, go ahead. I've got some things that I'm not happy about that I'm going to say here in just a second, and that is this. And what I'm about to rant about, I don't want to take away from the effort of this team and the things that they did do well, but we have to address the very biggest, ugliest, awful thing that happened in this game, and that is the free throws. If you've been here on this channel since we've been doing these regular things for well over 2 years now, I think, well before anybody else was doing post-game shows, you'll know one thing that I have talked about ad nauseum: free throws, free throws, free throws. Championships are won and lost because of free throws. And you saw both ends of that dichotomy tonight in Auburn and Houston. Auburn poised to pull an upset of the number 1 seed, had them on their heels, had them in foul trouble, had their somewhat injured star player in and out of the game, and couldn't lock it down in free throws, which would have locked down the game, the position they found themselves in the foul situation and stuff like that. Whereas you saw Houston slowly but surely get themselves into the same favorable foul situation and take advantage of that. And before you know it, what should have been the score lopside for Auburn was the score lopside for Houston. Doesn't take anything away from Houston, though. Great team. Going to be pulling for them the entire time now because we got to pull for everybody who can beat Alabama. It does suck that it went down the way that it did tonight. So we will talk about some of the things that you guys want to say. Again, I will reiterate, if you want to have your comment brought up in here, obviously ask yourself the question, did the thing I just type, would I say that to a coach or player's face? If you would, then it's probably going to be brought up. If it wouldn't, it's not going to be brought up. So let's all be adults. Pain, I completely agree. There's nothing but pain over here on this side of the microphone. I know that there is a lot of pain. I'm seeing it in the comments right now. There's a lot going on here right now. Checking in from LaGrange. Thank you, Greg, for being here tonight. Jack says a tale of two halves. And so one of the things, Jack, that I think is a great way to kind of look at these two halves is the two halves are the two, I'm using the word dichotomy a lot tonight, I know, two dichotomies of this team. This team has, and the season's over, effectively the team will never be the same after this point, right? Because some people will leave, some people will come in. This team had all the potential in the world to do much more. And we saw that in the first half, and super proud of the response. What they did everything that they needed to do. A lot of things that we talked about on previous live streams here, whether it was a post-game show or not, about how they needed to establish a lead so that when they did hit that scoring drought that they always hit, it wasn't such a big deal. What I didn't count on was the scoring drought to extend to the free throws. And no one knows that better than Janai tonight, who really struggled from the free throw. No one knows that better than, I think KD struggled a little bit. I haven't looked at his yet, but we just struggled from the free throw line. I think basically everybody missed one. Did anybody not miss one tonight that shot one? It was bad. Cool Luke asks, how do you get outscored 50-23 in the second half? It's a very simple answer, free throws. But it is also a credit to Houston. Houston, they're a number one team, and you just saw why. They had a bad situation, and they completely turned on its head. They took advantage of what little opportunities they had, made the most of them, and found themselves in a more favorable situation, and then put the foot down and said, we're going forward. It's tough, man. It's tough. Jack is checking in. Now, Jack, is this Jack who used to be Spooky Buffalo from Iowa? If this is you, let me know. I think this is. I know you're glad that Willie's got that the Iowa win out there. The Iowa win. Yeah, 4 baskets in the second half is a very tough pill to swallow. Very, very tough pill to swallow. I agree with that. But you all knew that was coming, right? Right? I don't. For those of you that are surprised that this team goes through droughts, I don't know what to tell you. You must not have been watching a lot of the basketball games. And I'm not saying you are, or anybody else, but like it still amazes me. They're like, how does that happen? This team is a humongously streaky basketball team. And that is one of the things that has been an Achilles heel of it. However, they've also been a very streaky team the opposite way, which means they can do what they almost did tonight and take down the number 1 seed in the Midwest bracket in Houston. Houston's a very good team too. So there's a weird feeling for me tonight of, as whoever it was earlier that said about the two halves, of I'm proud of the way the first half went, a little embarrassed about the second half team. It's that no, yes situation that we talk a lot about with KD. Still love KD to death. Always will. Love this team. And I think there will be a lot of what if questions about this particular team. And I hate for guys like, Zepp obviously will not be back. Lior, I'm assuming, will not be back. There's questions if Allen and Jalen will come back. If they don't come back, then it will always, I hate this is how it's going out for them. Yes, the year of free throws has been bad. And listen, I don't want this to become, again, another stream where we find excuses. The refereeing was over the top. It affected the pace of the game for both teams. Now, we really love that refereeing for the first 3 quarters of the game. So let's not, and I don't think you're saying that, Rise Life, but let's not act like the officiating lost this game. It did. We lost this game. Devin, how do we not? Well, Devin, I think that's the dichotomy. Why do I keep using the word dichotomy? That must be my trigger word tonight. I'm triggered tonight, so that's what I'm going to talk about. They are practiced every single day for these guys. Most coaches do some form of, you've got to give me 10 straight made free throws, probably more than that before, or at least 100 made before you leave the practice gym. Some form of that is going on. Don't think it's not going on, but for whatever reason, this team just does not have it. And it hurts me because what do I talk about? Free throws. Yahari, I'm going to disagree with you vehemently, my man. I will look at the stats in a second. I'm sure the rebounding is not great either, but I promise you what lost this game was free throws. The Auburn literally could have clamped down with the free throws. The fact that they were in the double bonus, 10 minutes left, I think, maybe 8 minutes, doesn't matter. Plenty of time left, and didn't take advantage of all those things. This would have, with their guys in foul trouble, Sasser having a little, his injury was still a little bit tweaked. It's over if we make the free throws. It's over. I promise you. 100%. Brian, thanks for being in here. Good to see you from the Great White North. All right, let me move forward here a little bit. We got a lot of the same commentary. Richard, yeah, we did miss a few easy buckets there in the second half too. Just offensively, whether it was from the free throw line, 3-point arc, down low, not a great offensive half. You knew it was coming. Giving Houston multiple second half points lost the game. Well, they're going to get multiple second half points regardless. You mean second chance? Is that what you're talking about? Yeah, that's a big one too. 13 block shots. Yeah. Who was it on their team? Walker, I think was his name, who had like 6 or 7 blocks himself, something like that. Now, they were Houston is a very aggressive defensive team, And you can see why they have a lot of success with that. It also puts them in danger of what happened tonight. And a team that's better at free throws would have made them pay for that tonight. So that's what's going to happen is if Houston doesn't, if they're not careful, what just happened then tonight when they start running into the, now they'll run into who would be on that side, Miami or Indiana. Indiana versus Houston. If that happens, if Indiana wins tomorrow, that's going to be a good matchup. If you want a consolation prize, folks, you don't have to play Indiana, or you either don't have to worry about the Miami rematch from last year in the Sweet 16, and you don't have to worry about playing Indiana. I think Indiana is going to tear some people up. Of course, my bracket has been terrible, so what do I know? Let's see. Certified Cobra says that we have the most inconsistent tournament play. Actually, I would say we are the most consistent tournament team because in the SEC tournament, we have one time where we've done something besides that one good run his first year. We either are out in the first round or we make a run for it. But that time was one time. We're either out in the second round or we, make it to the Final Four. That's pretty consistent in terms of what happens. Thank you. So I'm gonna have to get used to calling you Jack now. It's a little bit easier than Spooky Buffalo. Although it was very memorable, I'll tell you that. Trey definitely should have played more, Devin says. I don't know why he didn't. Coach has his reasons. Coach has made a lot of really great in-game decisions, and so I'm not going to really question the reasons why. He definitely was hot these last 2 games, and he made the most of it. So I think what's great for Trey, too, let me just say this about him. A lot of people had started kind of almost thinking of him as an afterthought, especially with Aiden Holloway coming in next year. And I know they're different. He's point guard, and that being Trey. But, as more guards start coming to the fold, as Trey's still in this program, it's going to get a little tougher and tougher playing time. What he showed is this guy's clutch in time. And we kind of knew that about him. But he finally showed us that. And, oh, man, was it fun. That man just said, I'm going to launch this. He said, logo win who? Let's see. Kevlar says, I wish everyone would stop bashing the team. They gave it everything they had. The future is still looking bright under Pearl. Will be back. Listen, there's a little bit of that comes with all of this stuff. And because, no offense, but a lot of you have anonymous handles. You don't know who you are. There's no consequences for saying the things that you say. And so you just say them sometimes. And I'm not calling anybody out specifically, but you can look in the chat at the beginning of it, especially, and find those that would never say these things to people to their faces. So it's kind of cowardice, to be honest with you. But we do have a lot of good people in the Auburn family and people here who are just upset and should rightfully be upset because that was not representative of what Auburn basketball is, and that was not representative of what this team had the potential to be. It really just wasn't. The free throws just awful. All right. Let's see here. Trey has a bright future at Auburn. He definitely does. There's a lot of guys with bright futures here at Auburn. A lot of we talk about the what if questions. What if Trey had come on a little bit sooner? What if Juwan Traore and what if Juwan Traore had a better start this year and kind of gotten going and that potential that we all saw in him, especially in the summer play? What if Chance Westry didn't have his injury, which set him behind? There's a lot of those what if things, but there's a lot of what ifs in the good ways too. Unbeaten Lake finding the silver lining. We are 11-0 in 64, the round of 64. Amen, brother. So if you want to find the good things about this, there you go. Here's our first Houston fan. I knew one was going to come here. Your win wasn't satisfying enough, so you had to come on over to a... You're welcome here, by the way. I'm just messing with you. If you're going to come here and mess with us, we're going to mess right back. So behave yourself. But congratulations, great team. Just y'all need to stay out of foul trouble because a much better free throw shooting team makes y'all look pretty bad as a number 1 seed. Round of 32 struggles continue. For some reason, we have a bad history of struggling in the first round of the SC tournament and the round of 32. I would say, let me think. So we're talking about this year, last year with Miami, and then like 3 seasons before that with Clemson in the round of 32. So yeah, you might have a point there. Appreciate that, sir. Auburn will return. What is this, a Marvel movie? Auburn will return in the sequel. I believe they will. My biggest frustration about the team is just, I know this team was a lot better than they showed on the court at times tonight. And I think that's the biggest frustration. And I know they know that too. And so it's hard for me to articulate that when I know that they know that they know that they know. And I think the majority of us too, I think that's why you see a lot of vehement frustration towards these guys, is because they are, a lot of us have seen a lot more potential from them. The team just couldn't sustain play at a high level this season. Sustainable play was probably a good way to sum that up, Brian. I like that. Sustainable play. They could go up on a really, really high peak and stay up there for a little bit, but come crashing down at times. Yeah. Gonna miss Lior, the seniors, but ready for some new guys to come in and give us some new heroes. Well, that's the great thing about every year. No matter how much it changes, there's still going to be a new blood, a new life, a new something injected to the team, right? John looked really good at times in the first half. Free throws killed us, got smoked in the second half. Pretty well summed that up there. Yeah, it's about a lot of what we've been talking about right here. All right, let's look at some stats here. Keep your comments and questions coming if you'd like. We'll look at some things tonight. We talked a lot about the need for guys to get into double digits, probably at least 5 of us. Only 4 of us do that tonight. Jalen Williams, Janai Bream, Ty as your leading scorers, Alan Flanagan with 10. So the guys, the seniors that we really needed to step up offensively and do what they normally do, at least did that tonight. Jalen Williams, Alan Flanagan showed up offensively. Janai Bream for Janai tonight. I'm rubbing my eye because it's making me hurt to look at it. 6 for 16 from the free throw line. Janai is way better than that. We saw it the night before that. He knows it. No one else needs to say it. Just some nights you just don't have it. And once it's a hard thing for a shooter. And I can speak that as a former high school and 1 year of college basketball playing individual. There's something about when you get into one of these ruts as a shooter, it is hard to break out of it. It is, and whether it's from the 3-point arc, inside the arc, free throw line, layup, things just seem to go wrong for you sometimes. What else? Other point scores tonight: Wendell Green with 9, Zep Jasper with 1, Katie Johnson with 8. Looked like he was going to go on a tear for a second. Trey got his 2 threes for 6 points. Cardwell with 2. Chris Moore and Berman were not able to register any points tonight. So a little bit more production all the way around. Some free throws tonight, which were very lacking. This might have been a different story. And there are some other stats we'll talk about in just a second. I want to get back to see what you guys are saying over here. Michael says 10 minutes without a bucket. If that ain't the story of the season, an extended amount of period with a bucket. Got to be able to play well away to win the big one. Yeah, those teams that can win on neutral sites, that can win at true away games, they tend to have a little bit more success, and you're going to see that in especially teams like Houston. I think they lost one of their conference games all year, and then they did lose their tournament, I believe, but still, proof is in the pudding of how good they are. Bama fans were pulling for Auburn. Is this a Bama fan saying there? Or is this an Auburn? No, Dale, you're an Auburn fan, aren't you? I can't remember. No, you're from Facebook. I don't know if I know you. It's hard to keep everybody track of everybody here. If Bama fans were pulling for Auburn, that's great. That's probably like one of them. The reality is the majority of them, just like will be happening any minute now. If it's not already happening, the majority will be pulling against Alabama. I'll be pulling against Alabama. I'm sorry. Just the reality of what it is. The yips. Brian says, Janai shaking his head after misses. He knew he was off. Have to feel for him. And that's the tough part for him because he is, it's one thing if you are a free throw shooter that is normally not good. You get frustrated, but it's like, well, I'm not good anyway. So what's the difference, right? This is Janai Broom, who I think was like, I forget how many he made the night before, but it was basically, I think he missed maybe 2 out of the bunch he took. Night and day difference. You want to talk about different half difference? Talk about 2 nights difference for Janai at the free throw line, if I have that correct. We could have Wendell back next year with Trey and Aiden. I mean, I don't really want to get too deep into these discussions because we're going to have plenty of time to discuss that in the months now leading up to the next basketball season. But I don't expect, I mean, would Wendell go to the draft just to put his name in and see what happens? Like most people who have an opportunity to, yes. But, you know, he is a somewhat undersized point guard. And so there's a stigma with that. I don't believe it should be that way, but it just seems to track that way. So, you know, yeah, I think you can expect right now Wendell to come back. Trey's going to be back. Aiden be a pretty solid. And then you got Chance Westry. You can do a little bit of that too. But if you get to insert him into the combo guard slot alongside, you know, Aiden actually, I think is a shooting guard. That now that I think I said that wrong, but either way, guard play, I think, is going to continue to get better because a lot of them are back. They're going to have another year to improve. They know what they're not doing well. They know what they do well. Maybe KD next year has a great whole season as opposed to kind of a peaking towards the end. We shall see. Dale is a Bama fan. We have confirmation. Well, Dale, if you were rooting for Auburn during that, I commend you, sir. You're much better than I am, but we will not be cheered for Alabama. I'm sorry. if I'm just going to be honest. Jones says, Janai, I guess is what you're saying, 6 for 16. He's never shot that bad. We didn't get anything from the bench. The bench is not helping on offense. Left in the game too long. The bench is not helping on offense. Left in the game too long. Yeah, but you got to give your starters some time to rest, especially if they're kind of not having things go their way like Janai was tonight. Yeah. Houston only lost to Memphis in their conference championship. Only lost to Memphis in their conference championship. Temple on a buzzer beater in Alabama, if I remember correctly. That is a good point. I forgot. I think that is correct. Let's see here. What else we got going on? Charles Barkley had some positive comments about him. Of course he did. He's our ambassador. I'm expecting anything less from him. But you know, he kind of said at the beginning of the game, he thought Houston was going to win, and it proved to be true. He knows what he's watching. All right. Look at a couple of more stats here, and we will put this one to bed, but don't run off just yet. A few more comments and questions, things maybe we haven't hit tonight. I know we haven't talked about ticket prices. That's something else I wanted to rant about, but I don't know if we have the stomach for that tonight. I do want to compliment, again, Houston, Sasser and Mark, their guards tonight, who got into foul trouble. Mark did not. I'm sorry. Sasser and Shed, I think is how you say his name. Is it Sheed or Shed? I think it's Shed. Got into foul trouble tonight, but Mark and Sasser were just outstanding tonight. They're, you know, people talked a lot about Auburn's guard play versus the opposite guard play has been the difference a lot, and you could make that case tonight. But when you've got a talent like Sasser there too, it's tough. I was impressed how Auburn did against their bigs because their bigs were really out rebounding us sometimes. Speaking of which, let's go look at the big three stats team wise. Free throw percentage 53% for Auburn, 83% for Houston. I'm sorry, I think it was Yahari that was disagreeing with me earlier. You will not be able to make a case other than that discrepancy right there. That is just awful. Here's your rebounding differential because it's the next big stat 34 to 45. Pretty significant 11 differential rebounds wise, and not really a defensive or offensive rebounding advantage, meaning they were both about the same differential. Well, I guess a little bit less offensively for Houston there, but they won both of those categories, obviously, the way they won the whole rebound situation. And then turnovers tonight. Auburn has only 8, which is right at the low end of what they average. And then Houston had 7 tonight. So the ball was really taken care of, but Houston wins all 3 of those and significantly. When we talk about these teams, or anytime Auburn plays someone, we look at those, stats, and sometimes they don't always tell the whole story. You usually look for where the other big stat would be. Other big stats that you could probably maybe take away from fast breaks points for Houston tonight, 15. Blocks, 12 for Houston, 3 for Auburn. Shared the ball equally well. Really, there are a lot of similar stats tonight. And so what this should show you as a Auburn fan, this team had the potential to be one of the best 16 teams in the entire nation this year. Who knows? It could have been better, but they are just missing what we talked about this little much that they couldn't get every single night. Tonight, it was free throws. I can't cheer for Bama. It'd be like taking castor oil. That's funny. Castor oil is the worst. Never had it. Don't know that I ever want to. I should have done a halftime stream. I've had people ask, I know you're mainly just being funny about it, but I've had people ask to do those before, and it just there are things like with YouTube, there's almost like if you do too much, it hurts you. And so I think we tried those sometimes. We're always trying new things that we'll never see. Dale says, yeah, I know. He's our Alabama friend here. Yeah, I know we're supposed to hate each other, but occasionally we come together. It was best for the SEC, and Charles Barkley picked Alabama to win the whole thing. He did say he had a lot of respect for Alabama. Oh, I have respect for Alabama in terms of that. I think talent-wise, they're a good team. I do not have respect for your coach and a few of your players. Well, practically the whole team after the way they handled some of the things, just to be honest, Dale. So, I get, and I agree with your sentiment that it is good for us to come together in the important things. And we've seen Auburn and Alabama fans do that a lot. We've seen them do that with what happened with the Tumors Corner. And we saw that happen when the tornadoes hit Tuscaloosa. One of the first schools to arrive to help were Auburn in Tuscaloosa to help clean up. So we've seen us come together, and I think that's a great thing. But in sports, sorry, buddy, it's fair game. All is fair in love and war there. And I think as long as we understand that in the real things, we can come together, the things that truly matter, sports, let's get at it. Let's see. Anything else here? Okay. Final comments and questions. I know a lot of you want to go and watch the Alabama game. It's probably on by now. If it's not already on, they're probably already killing whoever they're playing tonight. What is it? Maryland? It's just probably the way it's going to go. But final comments and questions, get those in right now. Reminders, next scheduled live stream tomorrow night, 9 Eastern time, the Auburn Experience, where we talk about everything, sports, culture, family. Episode 28, me and Austin back in the saddle. Join us for that live recording. We'll get to hang out a little bit before and after. I know we'll have a little bit of more time to kind of chill out too, so won't be as toxic. Did you notice when I called out people for just being hateful towards players and coaches, the numbers went down? So there they go. Subscriber if you'd like to. We'd appreciate that. You can be a channel member, a Booster Club member. All those great things are helpful if you can do it. I know it's tough times right now in the economy, so you don't have to do that. But if you can, it's much appreciated. Biggest thing you can do is be here, leave a comment, interact with us, smash that like button, all that good stuff. Let's see. Final comments and questions here. Maybe we'll get a win. Maybe we'll win. We'll win a natty in gymnastics. I hope so. Wouldn't put a bank on it right now. Let's see here. I hope Bruce can recruit some sharpshooters over the next couple of years. The 2019 team, for example, were above average shooters, but we were also struggling in some other areas. And yes, you can shoot yourself. You can shoot your way into basketball-wise a good scenario, but if you live by the three, you will die by the three. So everybody, so this is what's going to happen in 3 years, Yahari. You and or me, even just anybody will make this statement and say, well, we got to play better defensively. We got hope. So just remember that it's a cycle that you'll go and fix this one problem and then something else will happen. It's never perfect. Those that are able to make it happen in those special moments in the season, put it together all then are the champions. So that's why you see teams like Kansas. You see teams, well, not anymore. Houston, maybe. You see teams like Gonzaga. You see teams like UNC, Duke, historically Indiana are able to put it together because they can just get all those things together at the right time. Dale, I appreciate you being candid about that. I think it has been mishandled vehemently on all levels. All right. Yes, I am being a Debbie Downer because I'm mad about free throws. I'm mad about free throws. All right, guys. Again, not a fun stream, I know, but thank y'all so much for being here, being throughout this whole season. Don't forget, just because basketball is done doesn't mean we're not done or that we are done with basketball content. Just because football will only have this short window of spring break doesn't mean we're done with football content. We got baseball. We got all the things. We're still going to be here hanging out. We hope that you'll stay along on the ride with us, and we appreciate you being part of our little family within the Auburn family and hanging out with us and spending time here, even on streams like this tonight. Till I talk to you all again, War Eagle.